Hey guys, I am here chatting with Vince the Prince Taylor. He's a winner of 23 IFBB Pro contests, 2-time third place finisher in the Open Mr Olympia, and 5 times Master Mr Olympia. I'm pleased to welcome Vince the Prince Taylor to my YouTube channel and also Capital Bodybuilding Radio. Vince, what's been happening?
Hey man, just trying to make it happen, living the life a little bit.
I love it. You're such a positive dude. Like, it always comes across like as soon as like you pick up, you're like, "Hey, baby, what's happening?" And I'm like, "That's awesome." Like, you just instantly, you got an infectious like personality. Is that something like you pride yourself on?
Hey, it's just me, it's just been, what you see is what you get. I'm trying to be real and genuine all the time, and it just seems to be, magnetic. So it's a plus.
Yeah. Now, you've got 23 pro wins, which I was going through your contest history, and that's pretty outstanding because I think the leader now is Dexter Jackson with 28.
Yeah.
So you're like, do you know what you're ranked? Maybe just after Ronnie Coleman and Dexter or something?
Yeah, because you got to watch out for Levrone. He's always trying to sneak up on me and try to invent a win to be posted. We had that little problem a couple of years ago. But, yeah, I should be right there after Ronnie now because Dex is just rolling.
Yeah.
But and it's something, because I didn't think anybody was going to hit that, because the way people were competing. But hey, history gets broken quickly.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Dexter's doing some pretty amazing things now at the age of, what would be now, mid to late 40s, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I want to ask, you mentioned Kevin Levrone. What did you think, before we get into your whole history and go through everything there, what do you think of Kevin's comeback and the whole, I suppose, like the promotion around it?
Well, to each his own. When I heard about it, and I thought it was, I was in that position myself, to making a comeback and what I was going to do it for. So when I heard Kevin was going to do that, I was like, man, that's cool. He'll get back out there and mix it up. But I think it was more interesting to hear the fans, weigh in. How, he's back. He's going to be number one. He's going to win. He's going to oh, God, here we go, Just let the man come back, and for whatever reason he came back for, hopefully personally he achieved that of being on the outside looking in. I'm like, oh, if it's personal, that's great. But for competitiveness, you kind of overshot the runway a little bit, But yeah, we're right to.
Yeah, well, I actually put a YouTube video out saying, like, look, guys, like he's not going to win, and people were like outraged. They were saying, like, you don't know what Kevin's capable of, and they were losing it. Like, people are so passionate about Kevin Levrone, I found out.
Listen, I got called jealous. I got called, who are you? You are nobody. Why can you even think about saying that about? It was like, Vince, what do you think about Kevin's return? You think he's going to win? He's going to be in the top 5? I'm thinking, guys, for me to say I agree with you, it has to be something phenomenal, because you got to understand, you showing these guys out there every day from Phil down to top 10, you showing these guys a lot of shade, because you got to respect the fact they grinding hard every day.
Yeah.
You don't get physique by the minute, that takes years, and you grinding, and when you get off of that stage and get out of that training mode and come back with a physique to catch up to the guys that have been competing for nonstop, you're not going to match that quality.
Yeah.
And when I hear people ask me about can he win, I'm like, where you going to get a new body?
Yeah.
Boy, I was like jealous and everything. I'm thinking, excuse me for speaking my opinion.
Yeah, I know. People don't want to hear it. They ask your opinion, but they want to hear what they want to hear. So,
God, yeah, it's crazy. I love it.
Let's launch into some of your history and what you've done, I suppose, as a competitor. You've had a massive history. You turned pro, many years ago now, and you've had, like I said, a successful career, winning 23 pro wins. Now, you did do the Mr. Olympia for years, the Open Mr. Olympia. You decided in 1996 to switch to the Masters Mr. Olympia. Do you have any regrets doing that? Because you won it for 5 years straight, and then we'll discuss what happened in 2002. Do you have any regrets competing in that Masters Mr. Olympia over the Open Mr. Olympia?
I can honestly say no, because it was by design. I was waiting to be competitive in bodybuilding by virtue of how I looked, not my wish and goals. You could never corner me and ask me, Vince, you think you're going to win tonight? I'm at the Olympia with Lee Haney. Like, no. I'm here to, to see what my little physique can do, but I'm not here to beat Mr. Olympia. So I know my place. So just being part of that athleticness in me, or let's say competitiveness, I wanted to be competitive with guys my age and still do what I like doing, because people don't realize I started training at 27 years old. When I started turning pro, I'm 30 years old already. When I met Sean Ray, he was an 18-year-old, young guy. Okay. Yeah. And I'm already in the, hey, I'm up there. So the thing about that is, it's when you start at an older age, and I say my little rookie season, like 2 years, I came out the blocks in 1989, when I won my nationals in 88, top 3 in the world, in 89. I mean, I was only training for 4 years.
That's crazy. Okay? That is crazy.
So, yeah, it's like, wow. So when you think of that, I was just kind of getting my legs under me as my age picked up. So I'm already 40. I'm competing against, a full-fledged Sean Ray and Levrone and Flex Wheeler. These multiple physiques were coming in at me. I'm already 40. So I'm doing battle with these guys. I'm beating these guys. So by the time I'm like, all right, you're not going to be beating these guys too much longer. Okay, here comes Levrone, pops in on stage. It's like, okay, I got Flex Wheeler who just showed up looking like something incredible. So that knocks me down to my projected mind of what I'm going to be placing while I'm doing the sport. I'm out there to make some money. It's not all fun and game. So knowing that my ability to make money was going to be a little lesser, because these guys, these young lions were coming. So it's like, okay. Then they started talking about the Masters Mr Olympia. I'm like, well, I'm only 38. I can't even get there yet. So, but it would sound like something I thought I could continue doing what I'm doing, compete competitively, because I'm an old man, and compete with guys my age. And then let's see where I can go. But hey, by the time I turned 40, I was still top 5 in the world. So it made it kind of hard for them old fellas to keep up.
Yeah, well, you obviously did very well winning 5 of those Masters Mr Olympias. What was the prize money difference between the Masters Mr Olympia and the Open Mr Olympia?
It's like, Open Mr Olympia is making close to about 200,000, I guess, because Arnold Classic got picked up tremendously as well. The Masters, he got paid $10,000, and then you're looking at all of this and you're going like, oh, he won, he got 10 grand. Like, please, and that's before taxes. So you're not making any money. So my thing was, if you win the legendary status of that Sandow Trophy for about 10 years, that'll cap a great career and something I like doing. So that was the goal. Get out of that fist fight and that mud bath with those young lions that I wasn't going to be surpassing, and find my own level playing field and excel. And that's what I did. And thank God it worked pretty good.
Yeah. You sound like you were very realistic with what you were able to do with your physique and at your age and everything. Do you reckon that worked, like, obviously to your advantage, and then you swallowed your pride and went to that Masters Mr Olympia?
Well, because I knew where my body was. I knew that from who I was competing with year after year, you know where you are. That's why I said when these guys get delusional, when you ask them on any given night, I'm a competitor, I'm coming to win. Yeah, ask Phil Heath about that, you know what I mean? So here's the deal. I looked at it and said, well, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, so I'll do it this way. So I looked at the Masters as really an extension, something to do, really to make some history. So me telling myself that I'm not that quality of competitor to be on the Mr. Olympia stage, it was not what I was listening to. It was like, take your physique a little further, because here you know where this game is, and you're competitive. So you want to be competitive in everything you do. Yeah. But, you go to Olympia, look at the lineup. I'll tell you where you're going to place before you get there.
Yeah. Now, what was your personal favorite look? Like, everyone has everyone talks about, what was this person's best look and this person's. What was your personal favorite? What contest, what year?
Wow. That's really hard to say. I would like to say the Arnold Classic, the first time I won the Arnolds.
Yeah.
But I think I had got my best reaction from my quality physique was in 2006 in Melbourne, or was it Sydney? When I was in Australia.
On the Gold Coast, I think it was.
that night before the prejudging, we were getting ready to retire, and my wife looked at me and was like, "Oh my God, you look incredible. We need to go over there now. Let's go to the hall now." So that condition was shocking for me to get that kind of report from my wife, because she was that's my ace. We down to this game all these years, and that's what I listened to, and that's the directions I followed. And I was surprised her with that look. Yeah. It shocked me. I was afraid to go to sleep. So I think that Australia look was really good, but I don't even remember half of those looks I actually had. It was never where I wanted to be. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. Now you had a lot of fun on stage. I remember seeing you, I think, in the following year, 2007, at the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne, and you have fun on stage. Someone said something about your calves, and you pointed down at them, and you kind of nodded your head, and you were just having fun, man. And it was just, as a spectator, I was loving that. I was laughing, and just it just made me want to support you and go for you. Do you think guys kind of miss out on that a bit these days?
Wow. Do I miss it?
I mean, do guys do you think they take it too serious?
I don't know. I don't go to too many shows because everything I do now is usually online. I get a very not so up close look. But all I do see is just a bunch of serious faces. I don't see anybody having a really good time. Even, it's hard to say, because when you're at the prejudging, it's dead on. You're serious. It's time to battle. Yeah. But even then, I always kept it loose. It's like, okay, you can make all the red faces you want and the eyes popping out, serious. You still gonna have to pose, So chill, But nah, man, it's just I don't know how these guys are today. To tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, for sure. Now, in 2002, you finished a controversial second to Don Youngblood in the Masters Mr Olympia. Now, this was very controversial because most people had you winning, I'd say. Now, how did that feel like? Were you on stage thinking, they're about to announce me first, and then you just got that shock?
Actually, no. I was leery because of all of the little small things that began to happen right after the prejudging was over. There was conversation being had that I'm already in third place.
Really?
So you're like, excuse me? So there was a lot of conversation going on. But back at the event, it kind of made your ears stand up. But at the event itself, when I was back getting ready to do my normal routine, check my posing, music, and go further, I was told then that there was one word of profanity in my song, and that might cost you something here on the judging cards. So you might have to change your posing routine.
Really?
Now, it's like 5 minutes before we're getting ready to pose, okay? So I'm going you got to be kidding me. So I said, okay, no problem. So at the time we were lining up to go on stage to pose. I think I was number 5 in line. And I went out, and I got another track I put up. So we're out in the parking lot trying to find some music, because I can't use the music I have. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm thinking, all right. So my brother was there, and he had happened to have the song that I had used back in the first contest, I believe it was, in the 89. So I said, okay, I'll use that song. It's a CD. So when I put it in and they played it, first it wouldn't start. So my brother was hollering on stage, track 4, track 4, let's go, I'm just sitting there standing there waiting. And then they tried to play it, and they kept saying, it won't work. It won't work. Your CD won't work. So I'm like, okay, so I go off stage. So I'm looking around for any music I can find. Any music. So I got a song. I just took it, put it on there, told them to play it. We played it, posed to it. I thought it went over pretty decently. It wasn't what I was expecting to do. So I was ready to rock that. So I just free floated and went over well. And at the end of the game, when it was announced that he had won, it's like, well, you, Vince Taylor, you lost the posing round. He beat you in the posing round. That's how you lost. I said, wait a minute. That's all I know how to do is pose. And you going to tell me I lost to a guy who couldn't pose in a phone booth? But that was the result. I lost the posing round, therefore I lost that show. So I'm like, okay, I got a song. All of a sudden I can't use my music, and I give you a complete factory-made CD, and you're telling me it won't even play. I said, never mind, let's flow. So that's what happened, man. I was pissed off about it, honestly. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I had on mine. I wanted 7, 8, 9, 10 Sandals. That was my goal. I
Yep.
wanted to win 10 Sandals and just relax with it. I only got 5.5.
Did that sour you, like, because you didn't compete in the Masters Mr Olympia after that? I don't know if they held it after that, but did that sour you and just go, no, I'm not doing that again?
Absolutely. That was a straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Because I was not the most liked guy in the federation for some reason. I don't even know. I can tell you
Really?
stories. It's like, wow. Um, so after a while, man, I wasn't getting. If you just think back briefly, there was a point in time I was getting absolutely no coverage. They wouldn't cover me. They wouldn't talk about me. Didn't do articles. Reader company didn't even like me. I don't know why, but I was just like completely blackballed. So I'm thinking, and then when I saw the easiest thing for me to do was to come down here into this city and win this championship, uh, it's discouraging when you take it away from me.
Mm.
Because let me give you a quick history. The very first one I won, my whole thing was to get there, win that trophy, start this Masters career off. What happened? I win the show. My only moment was to say, "Where's my Eugene Sandow trophy?" That's all I'm looking for. And I'm standing here waiting for my trophy presentation. And Vince Taylor, he wins the gold medal. Joe Weider puts it around my neck. And winner of the Masters Mr Olympia, Vince Taylor. And then he raises my hands. So I'm thinking, any minute now, here comes that Eugene. That's my
Yeah.
debut. And Wayne called me off stage and told me, hey, we forgot to bring the trophy. It's in my room. You can come get it after the show. I'm like, excuse me? That's
Oh,
how
man.
first we went. Now let's just speed that forward to the next Masters. And they decided they were not going to even, well, they did. They had it then. So Chicago, I think it was. And I told myself, I did get my trophy because my wife went to his office room and got it afterwards. But when I walked off of that stage, here's something I want you to understand. I walked off of that stage and Wayne told me that. And right there behind the podium were 2 Sandows for Ronnie to win the Open and that Master Sandows. It was right there behind the stage. But he told me they didn't bring it. So I had to get it off stage. So that was one of the little wake up check marks I got early on. The second
Mm.
Mr. Olympia, I brought my own trophy. I said, if you're not going to present me one on stage, I'll bring my own. I got that one presented. And the third, we're down in Virginia. Jan Tanner took it over and she called me and she's like, well, Vince, really want you to compete. Would you please compete? I mean, absolutely. Get my Sandow trophy because, that's all I'm looking for because you're not making any money. Just give me my trophy. I'll promise we'll have it there. We'll have it there. We get there. I win the show. I'm standing there waiting. Here's the moment of victory. Where's my Sandow? Wayne DeMillia, he comes over to me again with a little small trophy in hand. Here, Vince, we forgot the trophy. We'll send it to you. I'm like, wow, this is deja vu. Okay? So
That's
the
crazy.
following, they don't want to do it, the Masters. So they said they were not going to have it. Then somebody picked it up. They wound up doing it. I got that trophy. Okay? And the last one, the same old, same old. No, I'm sorry. That's what happened again. I'm at the show. I win again. Here comes Wayne. Deja vu. The trophy didn't show up. So they had to literally mail me my Eugene Sandows after winning the Masters Mr. Olympia. They had to mail it to me twice.
Man, that's ridiculous. Part of the thing of winning it is that's the trophy you held on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's your moment.
Yeah.
You don't get that back. You don't get that back. All the training and the hard work you put into it, and you want to go out there, and this is your moment. I don't care who didn't like it, who did like it. It is what it is. Give me my moment. And they just snatched it away. And what did he tell me? We forgot. It's up in the room. Well, come to my room after the show and we'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
so crazy. That's crazy to think about because it's like so unprofessional. I mean, in an amateur contest, it's extremely rare that they'd leave the trophies in a room.
Exactly. Who does that? Who has a championship event and don't bring the trophy?
Yeah.
Right? But they did me that way twice, and so I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. Let it go. But then that was year after year after year. But in between time, you're winning. You're not getting any coverage. You're not getting your presentations on stage. You continue doing what you're doing. The next following show, the year before they took that show for me, my last Olympia, it was wild because I came down there to Virginia. I'm like walking to the room like I always do. landscaped everything. There's no competition here. It's done. Let's get this thing over with. And when I went back for the prejudging that night, I got a friend of mine who came and told me, said, listen, you're in third place. I'm like, wait a minute, what'd you say? You are in third place. You got this guy, Youngblood, who was actually winning. Then you had John Hananashak. I don't know if you remember John Hananashak at all. He used to be a judge, also a competitor. And that's what I used to call the hit squad. Because now I'm competing, and some of the guys who used to compete are judging. So I got Richard Gaspari down here. I got John down here. And there's stories behind each of these guys, okay? So I'm like, here's the hit squad. And then you start hearing rumors how Vince is losing. You're like, okay, I see what they're trying to do. So you do what you do so it can't happen. But again, at the end of that prejudging, man, they told me I was in third place. So I actually went back and won that show by 1 point.
That's crazy. That's cool.
It was crazy, dude. It was just, but anyway, let's continue.
Did you? I mean, you mentioned you said you don't know why you weren't particularly maybe liked or your favorite person in the federation. Is there any beefs that you had with any judges, or is there anything did you speak your mind too much or anything like that you can think of?
Not at all, because that was one thing I really thought that would be a problem. Is to be. I was not Sean Ray. Sean's my boy. Sugar Sean is cool. But he's gonna let you know what's going on inside the administration of this, the sport. Mm-hmm. And he always has something to say. Me, it's not my fight. I'm over here in sunny South Florida. Whatever goes on over there in LA, bunch of earthquakes and craziness, I ain't got nothing to do with that. So I don't have any voice to throw out about the sport or anybody in the sport. No judges, no complaints. I took every should have been victory with a hey, happened. That's what happens. People like, man, they just screwing you. I'm not going to revoke because you can't change anything.
Yeah.
You just hear it and you move on. So it was nuts, but I just figure it's got to play itself out sooner or later.
Yeah. Now, after you competed at the 2002 Masters Mr Olympia, you had 4 years off. You came back at the Australian Grand Prix on the Gold Coast and you looked sensational. Why was that the show that you chose to come back at?
Ooh, to be honest, it was like you go as far away as you can to get back on stage to see if you still have it. Okay, because that was me saying, okay, you're gonna come back. What do you look like? You gotta look like something. So where can you go and qualify for the Olympia if you could? That was one of my things, try to qualify. But first of all, it was just the presentation. What are you gonna look like? And when the Australia show came up, and I was never in Australia, it was like, I'm going. So me and the wife made it happen. But no, it was just by the luck of the straw, as far away if I can get from the USA as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
It worked like a charm. Guy was nice.
It sounds understandable after what you went through as well, like with the Masters Mr Olympia. It's like, you got probably different judges, you got Tony Doherty who's promoting it, not the same promoters and stuff. I assume that was probably a part of a reason too.
Absolutely. I mean, and these judges, some of them, they don't even change. Some judges are still there today. If I was to come back right now, it'd be deja vu. It'd be the same faces you see before you left. So that's one of the things I thought the sport never grew and needed to have a different view, needed more judges. And they probably do have more judges right now. I don't even know. But that was one of my hangups all the time. Just change it up.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard about the Europe Mr Olympia. It was on last weekend. Now, what do you think about it? It didn't give away a Sandown, which I was happy about. But what do you think about the contest there being now Europe Mr Olympia and, potentially there's going to be more like the Arnold Classic has evolved?
I think it's good for the sport, because on a business side and for the fans, it shows growth. And I really like that. I just think they need to be careful how they create the title. One is a little bit more stronger than this one or better than that one. But as a business idea, man, that's just golden.
Yeah. And I've heard I heard someone talk about it. They said the fans over there are crazy. They need to export some of those to the Mr Olympia in Vegas and it'd just be mental. So
I wish they would get rid of Vegas Olympia, because I think it's so stale. You got to give more people a chance to see this event. Take it across the ocean again. I mean, granted that traveling times nowadays are a little bit concerned, but that one Mr. Olympia venue in Vegas, that's old now. They need to move it. They need to find another city.
Yeah,
It's
for
too
sure.
far out there. I don't even want to go. It's too far.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
over here.
for sure. Do you go to the Mr. Olympia every year now?
I think the last show I saw was the what was it? Probably was the Mr. Olympia 3 years ago. Yeah, Ronnie won, so
Oh, Ronnie, well, that's more than 3 years.
Ronnie won, so it might be quite a little longer than that. Now, I don't even go no more. I kind of lost that bite,
Yeah,
to go and sit and watch. My seats are never good anyway, so it's like I'd rather watch it on TV, and then they don't even show enough on TV. So I don't do I just kind of faded out the bodybuilding world, on that aspect. But I come back in on my way, so I got something else in plan.
yeah, for sure. Whatever. I suppose what makes you happy. You know what I mean? Like if you're not into that, what's the point of forcing it? You know?
Yeah, and hey, you know what's really hard for me is training.
Oh, really?
Man, I turned 60 years old just 2 months ago. And I have been in the gym really seriously training for the last 2 years. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And right now, I've been trying to get back into the gym for the last 8 months. I haven't been to the gym. So I've been in the gym for 3 days now. And it's like 50 pounds killing me, right? So this is why I don't even want to go to the gym. It's too much work. And now I've created my own training system. So, now I can train my way.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
I can see your arms, Vince. You still got arms. You've been training for 3 days back, and
Man, I'm telling you, it's crazy because I posted it on my little Facebook page. And it's like, man, Vince, you look like you haven't even stopped. I'm going like, must be the shirt I'm wearing. Because let me tell you, maybe it's the picture I took in the gym at the right spot. Everybody can find a spot in that mirror, like, ooh, that looks good. That's what happened. So, no, no, no. Man, just doing this
yeah.
and
You
getting.
don't, you don't look it, luckily. So that's it's all about illusion. So it's working for you. Man, like I can't believe you said you're actually 60. Like you don't
60.
you don't look it, man. Like you don't look it whatsoever. Like, do you have a secret or anything? Because you look young. Your attitude's young. Like
I've been telling people for years, Coca-Cola, red meat, and ketchup.
I
That's
was gonna ask you about that actually.
people for all these years. People know me who know I've been drinking Coca-Cola forever, and some people think, "Oh, he just talks about it." Like, dude, I've been drinking Coca-Cola before I was bodybuilding, right? Honestly, when I was 13, 14, I think I was going to school was when I first started drinking every morning. That's where the first stop on the corner store was before you get to school, and never stopped. So I'm a Coca-Cola fiend, man, and that Coca-Cola, keeps that 60 off a little bit, but don't change the numbers.
Are we
I
talking
got
full
old.
strength Coke? Are
Hmm?
we talking full strength Coke?
Absolutely. No diet here. I don't do nothing diet. Listen, no way, man. Coca-Cola, the real thing.
Yeah. So how much Coca Cola do you drink a day?
Uh, let's just say this way. I got a Coca-Cola first thing in the morning. I got a Coca-Cola sometime, another one full glass, before I go out anywhere before 12 o'clock. So I'm going to take about a good liter. Now, you got to
Wow.
understand, it's been more depending on where I am, because I do a lot of traveling now. And since now I do some back into my traveling. But prior to, I drink Coca-Cola before I drink water. I mean, it's just the way it is. Your coffee is my Coca-Cola.
That's so funny, man.
But
Um,
ice though, you gotta get the ice in there.
yeah. Do you I can't remember if this is correct. Did you used to drink wine while you prepped as well, like red wine?
Wine was never good for me
Oh,
because
okay.
that's kind of just brought your blood sugar down too quick. We heard about it. I mean, trust me, there's a whole lot of alcoholics backstage, but I'm drinking. I had champagne.
Yeah.
Especially when I went to Europe, I would drink champagne, and because it was a milder alcohol beverage that got the blood percolating a little bit, vascularity would pop up. But straight liquor and stuff like that, that's which is too hard, even though a lot of guys did it. But
Yeah.
wine and sugar, depending on how much, that can just drop you like a pancake,
Yeah. I
flat.
think it was Levrone with the wine and the hard liquor and you with the Coca Cola, so
Yeah, but I had to mix it up a little bit now. Sometimes, when the Coke wasn't hard to find, I had to. You gotta get.
That's funny. Now, did you do a lot of these European tours and stuff with all these guys?
I love doing them when I did them, but I don't even know if are they still doing them? I mean, they picked back up, obviously. Yes.
Yeah, they're doing them now. The last couple of years post Olympia, they're doing
Okay.
European tours. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't. It's got to be great too because some of the places that they get to go, that's what I miss. Man,
yeah,
I would come back to bodybuilding tomorrow just to get back on that travel squad.
yeah.
Because when you're going around the world and competing in these different places, man, that's an education that you cannot afford to miss. And I hope these guys, I've always said that, even back in the days, that bodybuilding is more than just a sport; it's an education. You travel worldwide, you represent your America or the country that you're from, the people that you meet, the impression that you leave. This is character building. And take advantage of it because Alice, you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
I know some guys don't get across the street.
Did you find
I
it
want to
hard
go.
traveling with the diet and everything, or was it not as hard for you?
Me dieting?
Yeah, with traveling at the same time.
Oh, no, no, because I'm a guy, contrary to the belief, I very rarely eat a lot of food. I've always eaten 3, maybe 4 meals a day. Even during my bodybuilding season, and people would be tripping on that. Well, Vince, well, how did you get so big if you didn't eat? Well, I'm not a big eater. I can't sit down and eat a whole pizza. I can't. I used to call myself, loading up on my Burger King. It's my favorite place. Has been forever. So I go get me a couple Big Macs. And then I notice I can only eat. Whoppers and eat one. Can't eat 2 no more. Never could eat a big pizza or 2. And I would be with Fritz Wheeler or Paul Dillett or Nasser El Sonbaty. These guys. These guys be monstering some food down. I give me a little piece of chicken because I had to, a little bowl of corn because I needed to, and a Coca-Cola. And at the end, to mess everybody's mind up, a bowl of vanilla ice cream. That was my contest prep throughout any country that I went through
Wow.
when we went to a country, and it worked because that's where people lose it. They start getting food. Got to stay sharp, stay smart. That
Yeah.
was my ritual, man. We would land any particular place. First thing I want to do is try to depressurize my body. I put my little hoodie on, depending where I was. Go for me a nice little jog. Put my little plastic bag around me, and then I will go hit the sauna for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, 3 times in and out, just to pull that water off. Ride the bike a little bit, and that'd be it. So I'm ready to put that body to rest. Then I fuel up. So when I go to the eating hall where everybody should have left by now, but down there, they're there now. These hungry bodybuilders getting free food. They're getting all the steaks and all the chicken and all the broccoli and all the rice, and they just loading this stuff up. And I'm listening. I'm just looking at them, going like, okay, so what am I gonna get? They're looking at me. Give me a piece of chicken and a bowl of corn, okay, and then give me, of course, my Coca-Cola, and that'd be it. And then I would disappear. And when they see me again, I got me a little bowl of vanilla ice cream. But they don't know what I was doing. You see, I'm out here purging this water out of me. I'm in that sauna. I'm running, getting that body back balanced right. And they stuffing themselves up with food. And when I go to the sauna, I pull the rest of it off and I'm ready to retire.
Yeah.
And what did I tell them? Nasser El Sonbaty asked me that one day in Helsinki, in Finland, was it somewhere in Europe. Vince, how do you do it? You're looking every show, you're looking tighter and tighter because I'm winning. You see, that's the thing. When you win, you don't want to eat. You want to stay sharp, right?
Mm.
All that food, let it go. So that's what I would do. Now, when I told Nassau what I was doing, man, I went through my ritual, came down to the eating hall. Nobody was there. I finished doing what I was doing, finished down to the sauna point, got to the sauna, and everybody is sitting in the sauna.
Oh, really? So it got around.
So I looked at Nassau. Yes, I told him. I told him. I even told him my edge. Everybody's doing what I'm doing now. So, but that was my whole thing.
That's hilarious. Do you have any other like really good stories from the European tours?
Oh man, tons of them. Depends on what level you're talking.
You can go
But
whatever level you want.
I mean, just little stupid ones, man. Just the bus rides and the guys talking crazy and I'm sitting in the bus, for example, one of the older guys, and then Albert Beckles was competing with us at the time as well. So, I had a chance to mesh up with Albert and talk to him about different stories. And he would, different things. And he would be telling me about being in South Africa with Arnold and that conversation back in the day with Schwarzenegger and how the scene was.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So, and it's a lot of stories like that. And then guys just being jerks, and wow.
Did you see any like
Phil,
good fights?
hmm?
Did you see any good fights or anything like that, or verbal fights, fist fights?
Ron Love and Phil Hill. Yeah, I think it was Phil Hill. Yep. I got my wife in the other room. She's going, yeah, because she got to keep me straight. See, I got 8 times all confused. We were in Finland, I think it was Helsinki, I believe. Um, anyway, it was boiling, and I was in the middle, okay, because I'm sitting in the small little dressing room, and Phil had said something, and Ron was my boy. We were sitting there talking, and Ron had said something about other words, maybe paraphrasing, if you talking to me about something. And he stood up, Phil stood up, and then Ron stood up. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And they just clashed, the Titans, boom. Like, geez,
Really?
Uh, whew. You go from that to where we're out with Chris Cormier and Levrone running 50-meter dashes after prejudging this after the competition to see who's faster. Okay, so picture this now: we're at a bodybuilding event. The arena is emptying. You got your bodybuilders out front, in front of their place because the street's pretty long, marking off some distances, and you got Chris Cormier and Levrone getting ready to run 50 meters. And I got to watch. I'm starting them off. I mean, it was a crazy night. It was stuff like that. Nuts.
Did Levrone win?
I think Chris got him.
Oh,
Chris
really?
got him. And then I think the point was Levrone said he slipped.
Uh,
It was a good one, because he did slip a little. But man, me watching these guys run, I tell you, it was like crazy. You could see the energy coming off of them. These big 240-pound guys. I mean, they were powering, man. I was like, look at this, and it was just forceful. They was running, boy. They wasn't playing.
That's crazy. You never see that now from the guys today. Like, I just can't imagine it. Like,
I can't even. I can't even see him running across the street.
no. Now let's discuss your Terminator routine that you made famous and that's been duplicated probably thousands of times, or probably tens of thousands of times around the world. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good.
True.
How did you come up with a Terminator routine? Like, obviously, like I'm gonna have that, the video over the top of us talking, but it's just iconic. I mean, and you did it so well.
Step forward, please. Arm weapons. Target searching.
It was something that came out of nowhere. It originated with my wife saying to me, her comment about women posing versus men posing, and she said the men are boring. You guys are so boring. Like, you go in a circle. Look at the women. They do this. They do that. It's more entertaining. So my mind instantly clicked on, you're right, because I was always doing the ballad, slow stuff, and it worked for me. But as far as the entertainment thing, that's what the sport was used to. The energy came together about really putting this whole routine together was when Leela Brada and Sean Ray came to South Florida to do seminars shortly before the Olympia. I was in one gym, Gold's Gym. They were at another gym, and my buddies came over because they came back next week, the other guy came. And he said, man, we were at the show, and Sean Ray was talking trash about you. I'm like, okay, what's up, He was saying that somebody asked him, well, what do you think about Vince Taylor? And Sean Ray said, well, once beaten, always beaten, no competition, you know. So my boys, they were telling me how they was ready to fight for me, you know. They was all ticked because he's gonna come to hometown and talk this trash. So I ain't saying nothing because I'm like, well, no, I haven't beaten him. You know, we were both amateurs. He won the nationals when I competed. I won the following year, and then we haven't competed together, so I haven't beaten him. So it's all right. So he's just talking. So then the following week, Labrada comes to town, and then Labrada was asked the same question, and he just looked at him. I believe the comment was, "He's no competition to me." Next question. You know, so again, I ain't beat Labrada either. But don't come to hometown talking trash. So speed it up. My wife and I were watching TV, and I was putting together my normal routine, and a show came on. It was like a dance show, and this DJ improviser came on. Was called DJ RoboCop. So he came on, and he was doing everything mechanically. He had glasses. He had on his black glasses. So if he brought them down, he made a sound, you know, for those glasses tracking on his face, and he made his mouth effects, making sounds, his body moving, you know, robotic. I was like, that is cool. And later on that I recall we were watching the Terminator, and we were watching Predator. So when I saw this guy Arnold come into the dance floor, and he's target searching, looking for Sarah Connor, it kind of like, that's cool. And then when we saw Predator, something we took out of that I can't even recall right now, but it was those two movies that generated a thought pattern of saying, let's do something robotic. So then I told the wife, what we need to do is, and I started thinking, how do you what do we do? Well, you know, this guy came to town talking trash. So if you would have come in, I just saw him coming in, Arnold in the gym, in the dance room, searching for Sarah, and I just started saying Sean Ray. You know, I could be that image of Arnold walking in, DJ RoboCop, looking for Sean Ray, find him, take him out. Look for Lee Labrada, find him, take him out. Now, of course, this is the Olympia. This, of course, is about Lee Haney. And I'm going like, this is the best, you know? You ain't going to be stupid enough to say you're going to terminate Lee Haney. So I'm like, this is my boy. I got to give my boy respect, you know? So I'll just go ahead on and just fell in perfectly. I'll give my boy a breakdown, deteriorize, and then come back. I'll be back. And it just flowed. It took us 10 days to put that together. I didn't even practice it in no gym or anything. We got the music literally 2 days before we had to go to Orlando to compete. So we had, I knew what I wanted to do. We were sitting, I'm dating myself now. We're sitting in front of the recorder, start, stop, making this little CD, you know, start, stop, you know. So there's no mixing going on here. So we got it together, and it was like, let's see if it works. Because if it doesn't work, you're gonna look like a fool. Yeah. You're gonna call guys out, and everything worked. And let me tell you, that was my gift to bodybuilding. You know, that was great. So one wonder, and that's what it was.
So when was the first contest you did it at?
At the 1992 Mr Olympia.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's it. That version right there. And then the story behind that, because within itself, we did the prejudging, and man, I was cramped up like a pretzel throughout the entire prejudging. I don't know how I made it through it. And when we came back to the night show, I was still getting cramps from virtually just moving. Abdominal cramps, leg cramps. I was like praying. And we were backstage, and Ben Weeder was actually talking. And Ben Weeder would love to talk. I was just so happy he was just going on and on and on, because my cramps were still there. And as soon as he finished, they kind of subsided a little bit. And when I was almost early to pose too, it was quick. And when I was on stage, I was afraid to actually go through some contraction motions. So if you ever watch it, you'll see me turn. I'll be standing a certain way. I'm never flexing hard. I'm just trying to hold a position. And then I started moving a little bit, and I got a movement, didn't cramp. I got a movement, didn't cramp. So I was trying to get a little loose with it, and I was able to feel I was going to cramp. So now I was able to kick it in. But man, that was touch and go. I was cramping like crazy. Almost didn't happen, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and people who haven't had bad cramp, they don't know what bad cramp is, because it is brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah. Trust me. I mean, I would get one every time I would do a abdominal pose. I remember in my first Olympia, in Remedy with Haney, that was a monster night, boy, let me tell you. Standing on stage with Lee, and we were going through the pose down, and or prejudging, and I hit an abdominal shot like that, and that thing cramped up, and you see me on stage going like, the league's like, hey, Vince, hang in there, Vince. I can't hang, Vince, it's killing me. But I would get up all the time. This upper right corner, that ab, but just always brutal. But if you never have one, you don't need it, and you certainly don't want one of those leg cramps in the middle of the night.
No.
Nah, you don't want that.
I don't know if you remember seeing, it was like 3 years ago. I don't know if you follow NBA, but LeBron James got like basically whole body cramps.
Yeah, I saw
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
And that ain't no joke, because you get one, it's enough. You get the right one, you forget about it. You get multiples. Ask Paul Dillett when he cramped up on stage at that Arnold's in 90, was that 92? Or 93, whatever that year was, when he cramped up. He looked phenomenal.
I actually remember that. Yeah.
He was like a board, man. They carried him off stage. That ain't fun.
That's crazy. Now, you mentioned earlier in the interview before we wrap this up, your new training system. Now, let's talk a little bit about that and what's going on with that.
Like my posing routine, I'm always doing something different. This training system that I put together is on the same level as me introducing that pose routine. I was calling them, eventually, they are now called Vince Taylor grips. That was called Powerball 50 Smart Grips, okay? And I use that terminology, Powerball 50s, because it is relationship to the training that you do. You're utilizing cables and or exercise bands only. And the grips that I have designed, you have to hold them in your open palm. This is no longer a barbell grip. Not only was the concept interesting enough to pursue, it was the science behind it. You know, I took the same this knowledge that I have about what I was trying to do to the University of Miami and got a study done by the sports kinesiology department. And it's a published study. My invention, patented invention, hand grips versus your standard barbell dumbbell grip, okay, which is just a bar. And it showed very, very high raises in muscle contraction stimulation in the tricep exercise, which they studied, and different muscles that it isolated. And that's the whole purpose of these different grips that I have. So I was able to bring that into play by taking out what I've been doing for years, which is contest prep training. Cables only, okay? So every professional bodybuilder getting ready for a show has a contest preparation training program, you know, for cable usage. I took that, extracted from my training years, and said, let's just make this a way to train for the average person because it gives you direction. You know, I always explain to people, when we go into the gym, nobody knows who you are and what you're doing. We do the same thing. Some will do heavier, lighter, whatever. But you got barbells and dumbbells, and you're just doing the same sets, reps, and whatever. Carbon copy. The only difference between what I'm doing and what you're doing is we take 4 to 6 weeks prior to a show and start doing other exercises, cable workouts, to start creating what we think shape and quality of the muscle. So we take that whole 6, 7, 8 week program and say, this is what is necessary to separate me from you, the average guy, and this is what I need to do to get my look. So I'm like, why don't you offer that to everybody? Train this way that we would do for 8 weeks, and because it works, because we all been doing it forever. This is nothing that I've made up. You know, every bodybuilder does this, and we have done it and continue to do it. So you take that program and you create a workout for the average person with a goal in mind. You see, this is sports specific. I need you to know how to train your shoulders. You came in here lifting a lot of weight. I know you're strong. What's your purpose? You want shape and look and balance of your physique. This is how you get it in these 8 weeks. So let me take this and explain it to you what you need to do with every muscle group. But the difference is I'm giving you a tool that I have found that works to isolate the muscle. Because on stage and creating that muscle look of quality, it's about contraction, muscle contraction. So when you normally train, this is what I try to get everybody to see. They don't know it yet because I haven't given them this amount of information I'm giving you right now. So this is the first. The thing about it is when you're training with a barbell and dumbbell, everything starts within the grips. Okay, you grip it, the forearms take in right away. I don't care what exercise you're trying to train, what muscle you target for isolation. As soon as you do this grip, you got the forearm engaged. There is your help. Okay, Now, the way I'm training is I'm not asking you to train with a closed fist barbell, engage in forearm activity. I'm asking you to keep that forearm open, loose, that palm wide open, because you're using a scratching type overhand paw grip. And these right here are the Vince Taylor grips. They will be out in January, hopefully, or maybe a little earlier. And what we're doing with these grips are, you're asked to hold them in the palm of your hand, and this is how you train. So you're doing everything you would normally do with a barbell and dumbbell, but you got an open hand grip. Every exercise you've done on the cable machine, you're going to do the same exercise, but you're going to be performing them differently because you're going to be utilizing the method I call isolation and separation. You're going to be training muscle to muscle isolation. But I found out by tearing a tendon here on my tricep, getting ready for the Olympia one year, I was rehabbing. So what I did in the gym, I got the cable machine like many people do. I took the handle off and I got the thing in my hand like this, and I'm doing the exercise, cable extension. For some reason, I was talking to someone and I was doing the overhead cable release, and I put it between the two fingers like this, the little stop ball on the machine. So as I was talking, I did my extension, and I noticed instantly it attacked the outer head of the tricep. So I was like, wow, that was like crazy. I mean, it's only like direct contraction, that outer head. So I'm like, well, what would happen if I put it between the middle fingers? So I did that, and the same extension movement, you literally feel the outer head resistance shift to the back muscle, the rear tricep muscle. So it's like, wow, you mean it went from the outer to the back? So now this tendon that I had ruptured and into this muscle down in here, I'm trying to rehab that by doing this closed fist action. That closed fist action, because it's standard and normal, engages the forearm. All three of the tricep heads are working simultaneously now, okay? They're working together. It's a unit. But by doing it like I'm doing it this way, I'm engaging them to work independently. So I'm working each muscle separate. So when I got to the pinky and did that same extension, you can imagine my surprise. It actuated the tendon that I was trying to actually start working with for rehab. I wasn't getting that 100% because of that closed fist. Yeah. So now with the fingers being open, divisional lines like this, you are able to isolate 1, 2, and 3 heads. Here's the beauty. I flipped it over, and I did the same thing for my bicep. Okay? Because it works so well with the tricep isolation of the 3 heads. I'm thinking, what happens if you can affect the bicep? Loose wrists, this position, I call it the pizza pie look, when you're putting it out there in front of you. So when you're curling back for the bicep curl, by putting in the first 2 fingers, you literally feel the muscle being activated on the outer head, on the outside. Okay? Yep. So when you put it between the middle fingers and you do the same thing, the key is keep the wrist very loose. You never want to do this again. Once you make that fist, you engage the forearm. You don't want the engagement of the forearm. It's very important. Leave it open, let it hang loose, keep it down there, contract the bicep along. You feel the resistance of this movement in the bicep. You go from the outer, you feel it in the middle, and you feel it in the inner. So you're targeting certain sections of any muscle that you're training. The beauty is that the weight that you're using is down to 5, 6 to 10 pounds. I train my arms with 10 pounds when I'm using these grips. Okay? So if I want to keep my mass building exercise with barbells and dumbbells, purposefully, I'm training heavy to stimulate mass. But once I've done that, now it's time to transition for quality training. I go and get some specific training done by utilizing this grip to train one head at a time or a portion of that head at a time, squeezing more blood into certain sections of the muscle fibers in that muscle. So I'm digging real deep into the core of the muscle. So now you got a way to say, wow, you mean you can actually train this head, and that head separately? Yeah, by going between the fingers. Yeah. So that concept gives you isolation and contraction. Trust me, when I had the simple test I had everybody do, it says, curl up normally, put your hand like that, push down on it, and curl up. You see what activates first. You feel the forearm. Open that palm, put one finger in the middle of that palm, and curl up and see what happens. Bicep contracts right away, 100% almost. So why are you training your forearms to get to the bicep? Why are you training your back muscles with the forearm when you're reaching up and you're grabbing, you're lifting that whole stack? You've seen guys do it. See the pull down. They're lifting that whole stack. Have them open them fingers up. Disengage the power of that forearm. And I guarantee you they're lucky if they get 150 pounds. Okay, because now what's truly working is the back. These are just attached. because your form is not assisting. A lot of your resistance and your power comes to forms. So you take the form out of the equation, your isolation. This is an isolation movement. So I got people working out with cables and exercise bands from 8 years old to 80 because it takes itself right into rehab. Okay, so if you're healthy, you can go as much as you want to do the system I got designed. It's a total body workout. You're training everything.
Yeah.
No muscle you're not training, except for legs, of course.
Yeah. I talked to you a couple of years ago when we did an interview, and you spoke about this same sort of thing, and I actually have done it myself personally, where I put like you got the circle thing at the end of a cable, and I've put that between my fingers and done that same technique, and it's awesome. Like, it is genuinely awesome, and I want to get some of those when they're out in whenever out in January or whatever, to try to put them between these two fingers here, because I mean, it worked really well, and I'm actually a personal trainer as well, and I use that on clients, and they love it. They're like, oh, it burns, that kills my biceps and triceps, and I'm like,
tell you right now, I have a lot of the medical people I speak to, so I'm going to a lot of the facilities now to put this product into the medical field as well, especially the bands and the new finger grip. What you're looking at is my standard, the OG of the power of the Vince Taylor grip, but I took it one step further. Now I'm actually still doing, which I just got a patent on it, an international patent in Canada and the United States. Now I have a finger grip ball.
Oh, nice.
Actually, this thing is nuts, man. It improvises and increases more isolation, more comfortability to the finger, and it fits just like, I mean, it's crazy. So when I tell these ladies who are training that they don't have to break their nails trying to train anymore, you get yourself a nice little colorful set of Powerball or Vince Taylor grips. The fingers never do this, so you don't break your nails. Your hands are always in the scratching mode, and you're training. You're not joking. You're training. So personalization, man, these things are great. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm getting some. As soon as the new ones are out, I'm getting them. So do you ship worldwide?
Oh, I'm shipping everywhere. You name it. If it's got a zip code, it's coming.
Beautiful, beautiful. Vince, I want to thank you so much for coming on and speaking to me. It's a pleasure for me to be able to speak to a bodybuilding legend. Like, if I can see you, look at you, and speak to you, I mean, it's an honor, man. It's a real honor.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking again, man. We got to do this again soon.
Definitely. We'll have to get you out to Australia too.
Oh, bank on it. I'm bringing this whole system to Australia. We're going to be doing some talkings. I'm going to need some points of view, perhaps. I come see how the old mates are doing.
Beautiful. Sounds good, my man. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. I just say, good day, mate.
Love it.
Hold up.